Hey, what's good, Inkman? I just want to kind of talk for a moment about something that I don't do nearly enough of in my writing. And first of all, you will see more stuff like this coming up on the channel. I'll be making more videos about writing, about the process, about things that I've learned and things that I'm incorporating as I go forward. I think now, before I had an issue with like putting up my writing thoughts and stuff like that. I've always wanted to do it, but I've been very hesitant because I feel like I'm not, quote unquote, at that level that I can advise others. But I kind of realized that I've written a lot in my life, especially when it comes to fiction. So there's no reason that I can't put up at least a little bit of something here and there to like, give some ideas to people that are looking to get into writing or have trouble writing a story now. At least can be a good starting point. And even though it's gonna be a little bit rough because I don't have the camera on, I don't have anything fancy going up. You can just see my desktop here, and that's all I'm gonna do for this one. This is real quick and on the cuff, really, basically. Just I'm not gonna do any editing. You're gonna be stuttering a little bit, so I apologize for that because I'm also very tired and I need to go get this damn cup of coffee. Coffee is what fuels me every day. But I just want to kind of go real quick over something, just and kind of talk about something that I've kind of realized recently that I'm going to work on myself as my writing process, which is uh, should you do an outline, and if so, how? I am of the opinion personally that there's no right way or wrong way to tell a story, especially when it comes to fiction. But there are more convenient ways or ways to make the work more convenient for yourself. Me personally, I tend to write my initial drafts straight ahead, and straight ahead means you don't have an outline. You just write it all out and just go on and just like go from point A to point B and just keep writing it. Um, Hope that doesn't come through on the mic. I just hit the mic and knocked it out the way. And yeah, I usually write my first draft that way just to get the ideas out on paper. It's kind of like my brain fart draft, I like to call it. But then after I get that, and I usually don't finish that draft. It gets like maybe to like halfway through the story, maybe like even a third. And once I get a feel for how the story is going with the characters, feel like I'll do another draft where I have a basic idea of where I want things to go, where I want to end at, and what the major idea is going to be, maybe what the theme is, and I'll go through that draft and I'll write it again, kind of straight ahead. Like it's still straight ahead, but it's more I have plot points like laid out, like I've written them down somewhere. Um, and then when I get that more like nailed down, I get like a finalized, like okay, I really know I want to go with this now, and I've gotten this draft done. That's kind of garbage. that I need to get like a better draft of. Then I will take it and I will try and do a solid like decent outline. Some people get really detailed with their outlines, where they go point by point. Uh, they number everything. They bullet point it. They go on. They write certain scenes out in their outline, things like that. And I've tried that before, but I think when I do that, I lock myself into too many things. If that makes sense. And so for me personally, what I do when I do an outline is I write it as if I'm writing a summary uh, for someone else. I write a lot of things when I write stories. I write them as if I'm telling it for somebody else to like, as if like it's promotional material, or something like that. Like you would look at it on the back of a box and see like the back of a box of a movie or the back of a book, and you will see the details like that. I tend to write my synopsis and things like that as if I'm selling the story to the reader to like, what's going to happen here? Would you like to know? And I'll write it in that style. Um, my outline is kind of like that, except it's just obviously it tells what's going to happen. Because if I just ask myself questions and didn't give answers, then the story would just be all questions and wouldn't have any answers. Anyway, so yeah, my outline tends to be just short paragraphs, very quick, very brief sentences of what's going to happen, the main points. I don't go into each and every detail. The only reason these first few scenes are detailed because these were already points that I written that were edited and already like basically in the version of the novel I'm writing right now. I won't go deep into the story of this current novel I'm writing, but the last draft I wrote and got back from my editor was terrible, and so I'm going back and readdressing a lot of the story. And because of that, I do redo the outline in general up to a certain point. So most of this is already all kept, and I think around here is where this is all new material. And so I wrote the entire outline out so I can get an idea of like what am I missing, what do I need to do, and what part points am I missing to get from A to B. For example, by looking at the outline, just rethinking about the story, I'm like, you know what? They never really meet the main villain of the story until near the end of that, initial draft, and that can't be good. I need to have something to get them on the right path and make them worry about what they're doing, and to introduce this like fearsome villain and why they exist. Um, so I brought them into a scene that was earlier, and that's where I started my outline at. Um, and so yeah, I just kind of do like these little small paragraphs. Like I'll read one of them. Let me see. Let's see. It's like Flame don't talk alone, and Minerva reveals her origin. She's a clone human with enhanced cybernetics known as X-ray units. That's not where your name's going to stay. These units were once created as a sort of artificial soldier, but her generation of them rebelled and fled the lab they were created in after destroying the remnants of the project. So this is kind of more of a exposition scene, but it's between two characters like just talking about their past. So that's kind of acceptable. But the way I'm gonna have that written, I think it's already written. It should be fine. But in the outline, it's kind of just say what they're saying and just play it flat out like that. So I know this was gonna happen and it seems to be revealed. Um, like it may just be even something like this where I say, whenever encourages an important scene. So I know this is gonna be one of those scenes like, okay, this scene is very important. I got to make sure I hit all the right notes for this one. Um, just general notes for like something like that in the scene. Like this is probably part of another scene, and so I just want to make sure that I have like this is an important scene. Like this is kind of a backbone of the book. And so when I write my outlines and stuff like that, and I write it almost movie like if that makes sense. Um, but I do this and I just go paragraph to paragraph to paragraph to paragraph to paragraph until I get to the end of the story. Um, and this is what I do when I do make outlines. Again, I don't go super detailed because I feel like that for me personally it becomes very limiting. I've done that before when I've written like a really detailed outline, and then the worst feeling in the world to me is when I do that and I realize either one or two things. One, it's way too restricting, and so I feel like I can't be free to write what I want to write when I have certain ideas. Or the opposite, which is freaking I miss something important in the outline, or the story doesn't go that direction, and it's like a waste of time. It's like I'd rather just write it not vague. Vague is not the word I want to use. I would rather write it more loose, a loose outline that I can refer to when I'm having trouble writing the scenes, and so I can also just know what plot points I have to get to. And so yeah, it's kind of just the way I write my outlines, the way I approach my outline process, and my storytelling when I get the later drafts. Again, this is not something I do in my initial drafts. My initial drafts, I write straight ahead for the most part. Like I may have like an ending planned and a beginning planned, probably not a middle. I just kind of go for interesting scenes, write it out, and I'm like, okay, let's see what we're gonna take from this, and like really rework it because I know when I write my first few drafts, it's gonna be garbage. Like it's gonna be, and you have to kind of, or not you because you're not me, but I have to accept that when I write it. Like this is gonna be a garbage book when I first write it, and you take me about to get a solid book. I think understanding my process now, provided I don't run into like big roadblocks, I can probably write a good solid book probably in about 3 or 4 months. So yeah, we're talking novels like around the size like 50,000 to 80,000 words maybe. So at least we're gonna find out when I write this one because right now we're going on month 3. I'm pretty sure, right? Because I thought no, this is month 4, so maybe 4 months. Anyway, yeah, that's my process. That's what I do when I write outlines. So that's the reason I use outlines. That's when I use outlines, how I use them, what I have them for, and it's really just to keep me on the rails. I don't use them as much as like a 100% guide of like write this exactly as much as I use it to say like here's the general idea that you want to get to. Here's the general story beats. Write something that fills this, and then go back and use it as a check to make sure that you hit the story beat in this area in this time frame. And if you did, good. If not, you can reassess. Um, but again, I'm also a very huge believer in like everybody writes their own style. There are people that are fantastic writers that write straight ahead the entire way for every draft, and they get it done. I'm closer to that thing. I just need something to guide me once I know I've gone off the rails, because sometimes I do that. Um, but yeah, you have to kind of figure out the process that works for you, and to do that, you got to write. So my biggest advice to anybody going into writing that is wondering how they're gonna get a story on the paper, you can try something like this. This might help out to write initially, just to write out the pieces that you are interested in, and just write them as little sentences. That way, you don't have to commit to anything huge, or like telling a huge narrative. You can just tell like a story with a few sentences, and then go from there, expand on it. Like this sentence here says, they return to their ship and are met with the body of a dragon's mutilated body. Okay, that's one sentence, and that's easy to write and get the story idea in my head. But what does that turn into is a scene. How do I describe that? What are they seeing? What are the details of that scene? You can really blow it up and balloon it and make as detailed as you want to, or as slick as you want to, or as simple as you want to. I think that's really the beauty of it too, especially whether you're going with an outline or not. But particularly if you're going with an outline, um, of this note, at least for me, it gives me a lot of freedom to really just elaborate on things and not really be stuck to like a certain particular thing or like idea. I can be more freeform, and for me, that's much more better. That's better for me as far as my creative process. So yeah, that's it for me with this one. Just want to do that real quick while I was going through this and just looking at my outline because I started looking like this outline turned out way. bigger than I thought it would be. And I didn't think it would be this big considering that the story I'm telling isn't that big in this novel. But then I thought about the scenes I have to touch on, the things that I gotta address, and like the stories I gotta close and like kind of line up for, the next book in line, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm surprised it's not bigger, and it may still get bigger because this is not the second day looking at it. I'm gonna leave it where it's at now. I'm gonna probably take an hour or so break, do some gaming, do something else, come back to it later, look at it again. I'll probably take another hour or two, maybe go to bed, maybe, and then the next day. I think tomorrow's me. It's been the process for the last couple of days, so I think tomorrow's me the day I'm gonna sit down and be like, okay, this is the outline I got. This is where we're at. Let me start writing the chapters out because Thursday is my big writing day every week. Because that's the day I would also meet my writing buddy, aka my editor, and it just makes sense to make that the biggest writing day. Like I write every day, but that's the biggest writing day where I just sit down, spend the most time just grinding it out. So Thursday of this week, I'm going to be sitting down just writing a lot of chapter work. But I will be doing that tomorrow too because I'm trying to get the book done as fast as possible. And I got another book in the wings that I need to go back and touch on too. So a lot of writing in my future. And I'm glad for that. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling now, but you get the idea. Outlines, they can be good. Just got to find out the way that you want to write it and use it for you, and if it even works for you. Not always necessary. I know there's probably people that say like, "Oh man, you gotta have an outline. It's gotta be detailed. It's gotta be bullet pointed and everything." It's gotta be what it's gotta be for you. If you write better without an outline, and you can get solid work. Granted, the work still has to be solid. You don't just be writing terribly and be like, "I don't need it." If you're writing terribly, and you can't get a story. Maybe try an outline. It might work. But once you have your process and you're able to get solid work out, then yeah, whatever works for you. But if you need an idea of how to write an outline or what can help, this is just like I said, a technique I use. Probably not the most recommended one, but for me to get my work done, it just helps. And I like to have a lot more freedom in my work when I'm writing it. So for me, having a looser outline that doesn't have everything detailed down. Granted, as far as and before I forget, as far as details, as far as like what characters wearing or how they look and stuff like that, that I leave more to my world building documents, which are here. So I have my character details. I'm an artist too, so I can draw everything out that I want to draw when I need to for my stories and kind of get the idea. I even got the stuff for like where the names came from, even though I'm pretty sure her name's gonna change. I'm not 100% sure. These names are not all final. Some of these characters don't even exist anymore. This character got destroyed. The character did not exist. This character either. But like, I keep all stuff in my world building. This is OneNote, by the way, that I'm using, Microsoft OneNote. But all my world building is here. I haven't got the star map stuff done yet. I'm actually getting to that point where I need to make like maps and everything too, and also like name out the ships and stuff. These names are not exactly final either. Small note: these names right now, like quite a few of them. The Bahamut and actually it's not even listed. The Behemoth's not there. Oh, I'm mad. The Bahamut and the Behemoth are both named after the Final Fantasy enemies, which are also named obviously after mythological uh, beings. So, but yeah, just me personally, I didn't name it after that. I named it because of Final Fantasy. So yeah, there's that. But this is the kind of stuff I do when I'm doing pre-writing. That may stick, but I doubt it. I probably don't change it. But yeah, so as far as details, this is where my world building comes into play and documenting all that stuff because then that way, my actual outline doesn't have to have every single detail of every single thing. You're not writing the entire book here, in my opinion. You're writing the scenes themselves, how you want them to go, or like the pieces, the plot points you want to hit. That's the way I look at it. Sometimes if there's a particular scene, I will say if there's a particular scene and I want to go a particular way, and I have an idea for that scene right then and there, I will write like if not quotes, then parts of that scene in the outline. Like here, which he says she leads them to no, not that, not that, not that. Let me find another one. Let me find a good example of a scene I know like this is definitely something I want to have happen specifically. I might not have one in this outline actually. I think I mentioned what I said. She encourages, and this is an important scene. But if I didn't, this is also one. I don't have this written out exactly, but this encouragement scene is something very important with the dialogue. Really here to like really bring home a certain message of encouragement for the main character. So I know that this is something I got to really touch on. But like if there's a certain piece of dialogue that I want to say in that scene, then I would write that dialogue here and say, because you mean that much to me or something like that, I would have it there and say it in there so I can know like, okay, include this when you write it. That's got to be in there. Um, yeah, so that's kind of what I do as well, just for certain things. Okay, I think we're going to actually end this for real this time because I went way longer than I thought I would for this video. Um, I'm gonna try and remember to do more small videos like this when I'm doing my writing, especially when I'm working on my room setup, because I can just record very easily. Kind of give you a look at what I'm doing, and it's not that hard. Um, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments or ask them to me on whatever social media I'm on. And yeah, this channel will be used for illustration purposes and writing purposes. So this is my main creative venue here. Inknin, this is where I'm going to be at, and you can call me Rocknin or Inknin. Either one is fine, or Jay. Either all that's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully post more stuff on writings. But I think I've been neglecting to post writing stuff at all. Just like I said, I've just been so nervous about doing it because I'm always nervous. Like, am I really that good of a writer? Should I be posting any kind of advice or any kind of things or just thoughts I'm talking about? And yes, I should. So I will. This is probably not gonna be the most flashier, great video. I'm gonna try and do a little bit more better or a little more better. I am a writer, I swear. A little better with the production value, but this is just really, really off the cuff. I just want to record this while I was thinking about it, while I was conscious of it. Especially since I'm over here, like I said, I need coffee right now, and I'm going to go get some. So I'm going to get my I'm going to get coffee because I clearly need it. Bye, guys.